Now, New York's Occupy Wall Street demonstrations are spreading far beyond the US. Protesters are holding a day of coordinated action in cities across the world. Now, this was the scene in the Japanese capital, where hundreds of protesters held a peaceful march through Tokyo's downtown. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, hundreds waved banners outside the US Embassy in Manila, saying the Philippines is not for sale. Students in Taiwan's capital, Taipei, gathered in the financial centre there to rally against big businesses. And in Australia's financial capital, thousands protested outside the country's central bank in Sydney. Channel 10's Josh Murphy has more on that.
Well, the movement, which began in New York City, has inspired another group of people. Estimates of 500 protesters have held a peaceful rally outside Australia's central bank here in Sydney. The message is essentially the same as those other global protests, and that is that in many cases the democratic system has broken down because the world is controlled by an elite 1% of the super wealthy. Now, many of the people who gathered here today acknowledge that the Australian economy is performing much better than many other countries around the globe, but they are seeing signs of those similar economic problems that have plagued America. Here's what some of them have had to say.
We've had a world which has been driven mad by bankers behaving madly, and we're now trying to rescue them when in fact we should be incarcerating them. And this attitude the public have got is hopefully the beginnings of a turnaround where the banks are in the docks rather than in control.
I think it's a pretty wonderful starting point actually to start to talk about the system itself is broken, that it comes down to the fact that it is, because of the 1% at the top of society who have all the power, and from there, we can talk about what the solutions to that.
Now, the intention for many people rallying today is to mimic what happened in New York City and camp outside the central bank in solidarity with those American protests. But local authorities have warned that that is not permitted here, and if a sit-in is staged, action may well be taken.